Hello folks, the final patch of the War Within, the warning is just around the corner. As a minor patch, it doesn't have as much to offer as a major patch, but it's still surprisingly chunky, with several brand new mounts on offer. And in this video, I'm going to take a look at what all we mount collectors will be doing for the last couple of months of the expansion. If you've been following some of my other guides, then there's a pretty good chance that you might well log in patch day to receive your very first mount basically for free. The Gear Grinder Mark II is a mount version of the first boss of Liberation of Undermine, Vexy and the Gear Grinders. This is the reward for a brand new expansion-wide meta achievement called World Soul Searching. As with any expansion meta, this does require you to do a ton of stuff in the War Within, but several of the steps involve already existing patch meta achievements. So you may well be fortunate enough to have it all done already, or at least be nearly done. And if you haven't, I have done quite a few guides over the course of the expansion, including a full in-depth guide for the entire meta, which I'll link down below. If you haven't completed it, then the longest requirement is going to be Glory of the Delver, which involves a ton of delve-related activities, including completing all of the individual delve storylines for every single delve. As those stories rotate randomly every day, if you haven't already completed them, it can take quite a while, especially for the last 2 or 3 that you need to show up. On top of that, you will need to clear every single raid on any difficulty, including LFR, do the patch 11.0 meta achievements, all that CAS and War Within Pathfinder, of which the most time consuming part will be grinding all of the main renowns up to level 25. Doing the 1107 metas will also reward you with 2 other mounts, the Breaker's Song from the Siren's Isle meta and Shadow of Doubt for You Shall Not Pass. From patch 11.2.0, we have the Going Goblin mode meta, which surprisingly can be done in a single sitting. And from patch 11.2.5, we have Owner of a Radiant Heart, which requires getting to Renown 10 with the Flames Radiance Renown. And finally, there is Unraveling and Persevering, the patch 11.2.0 Koresh meta, which will take at least 4 weeks to complete, as you will need to complete 4 of the weekly warrant quests as you go. Despite all of that, this is probably the most lenient patch meta achievement we've ever seen, so if you haven't completed everything, I do think that it still may be worth giving it a go. Next up though is Timewalking, which has a total of 7 brand new mounts on offer. Patch 11.2.7 sees the addition of Shadowlands Timewalking. Now, I don't know about you, but Shadowlands still kind of feels a bit like it was yesterday, but it actually has been a few years now. As always, it will be adding a brand new vendor, Collector Talstead, who you'll find in the hub in Oribos with a ton of new Shadowlands themed rewards. Somewhat surprisingly perhaps, the Shadowlands Timewalking mounts are not themselves Covenant specific. The Bone Cleaver's Skullbore is for sure a Modraxis themed mount, but the Crimson Lupine is a recolor of one of the Protoform synthesis mounts from Zereth Mortis, and the Snowpaw Glimmerfur Brawler reminds me of the Ardenweald Foxes, though its flavor text suggests that it may be from an as yet unexplored realm of the Shadowlands. As always, these mounts cost 5,000 Time Warp badges each, and Shadowlands Timewalking will be making its debut with the launch of the next patch on December the 2nd. Though unless you've already been saving up Time Warp badges, it may be quite a while before you'll be able to afford all of the mounts. Along with the launch of Shadowlands Timewalking, we're seeing the return of Turbulent Timeways, the Timewalking base leveling event, which will be running through to February the 10th. Previous Turbulent Timeways events have awarded a new mount, but this time around we're going to be getting 4 of them, one themed after every Covenant, but there is a little bit of a sting in their tail. If you have already obtained the previous Turbulent Timeways mounts, you already know roughly how these mount rewards work. What you need to do is to collect 4 stacks of the Knowledge of Timeways buff, which is awarded for completing a Timewalking dungeon. This buff lasts 2 hours and each stack awards a 5% XP buff. Get this to 4 stacks by completing 4 dungeons without allowing the buff to drop off, and it will transform into Master of Timeways, a 3-hour buff awarding a 30% XP boost. Obtaining the Master of Timeways buff for any 5 weeks during the event, which will be lasting for 10 weeks in total, and you will receive Paradin's mount voucher, which starts a quest which you can hand in for one of the 4 new mounts, which are from the Kyrian, the Bronze Aquilon, from the Necrolords, the Bronze Corpsefly, from the Night Fae, the Bronze Wilderling, and from the Venthyr, the Bronze Gravewing. But what if you're a serious mount collector and you really want to get all 4 of these mounts? Well, the good news is that Blizzard have already confirmed that the other 3 mounts will be purchasable from the vendor, most likely for 5,000 Time Warp badges each. And on top of that, the awesome Chrono Corsair mount from the last Turbulent Timeways event will also be added to the vendors. That little lot will set you back 15 to 20,000 Time Warp badges, which will be on top of the other 15,000 Time Warp badges that you'll need for the Shadowlands mount. So I suspect you're going to be farming Time Warp badges for a bit of a hot while. Now, if like me, you're not someone who does an awful lot of time walking and are not in a massive hurry to get all of the mounts, the most efficient way to get the badges is to do just one time walking dungeon every week that it's up, as you will get 500 bonus badges for your first time walking dungeon. But of course, you will still want to do 4 dungeons back to back during Turbulent Timeways until you get the achievement so that you don't miss out on the free mount. And for the last 2 mounts, you are going to have to wait at least another week after the patch launches, as the following week, on December the 9th, the Brawlers Guild is making a return. And as with previous guilds, there is a mount reward. In fact, this time around, there are 2 new mounts. The first of the mounts is Brawling Bruno, a recolor Crocolis mount which will cost you 4,000 Brawlers Gold and require reaching rank 6 in the Brawlers Guild. And the other mount is the Ballistic Bronco, a rocket mount costing 10,000 Brawlers Gold and requiring reaching the max rank of rank 8. Now, if you're not familiar with the Brawlers Guild, it is located for the Alliance in Bismo's Brawl Pub, which is underneath the platforms of the Deep Run Tram in Stormwind. And for the Horde, it's the Brawlgar Arena, accessed via a portal in the Valley of Honor in Orgrimmar. The Brawlers Guild is invite only, and you will need to obtain yourself an invitation. We don't currently know how to get them, but the developers have announced that they will be found in Dornagal. Once we do know, I will add a pinned comment down below. In previous versions of the Brawlers Guild, players were also able to obtain an extra pass that they could share or sell on the auction house, which may well offer an alternative to anyone who's willing to wait a few days for them to start to show up. Once you are in the Brawlers Guild, it is essentially a series of solo player boss encounters spread over 7 ranks, with the 8th rank not having any bosses and just being a reward for completing the previous ranks. The fights themselves are moderately challenging, but nothing in the scale of the Mage Tower or the double question mark difficulty delve encounters. And if you fail to defeat any boss, you can just go again. The only cost is that only one player can fight in the arena at a time, so there will often be a bit of a wait time in order to get your go. The Brawlers Guild has always been super popular. In fact, it's one of the most requested returning features. So if you don't like hanging around, it could well be worth waiting a couple of weeks until the initial rush is over. That said, previous Brawlers Guilds were removed at the end of an expansion, and Blizzard have not told us if that will also be the case here. But that's it for all of the patch 11.27 mounts. Which mounts are you most excited about? Is it that very unusual Gear Grinder Mark II, or is it one of the Brawlers Guild mounts? Comment down below. If you found this guide entertaining, helpful, or even just plain annoying, then do let me know by hitting the like icon. And if you want to support my channel to grow and help me to make more of these videos along with my other content, then hit that subscribe button right now before you forget. If you don't want to miss out whenever I release a new video, then as well as subscribing, you can follow me in social media for updates. My links in the description below as well. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.